Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. When what to your wondering ears should appear but a comedy podcast filled with holiday cheer. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health, and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as SGLT2 inhibitor and holiday cheer, so I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, I really hate to do this, but you have not turned in your homework for this week.
But I asked for an extension.
I know, but it's Christmas themed. There's no extension anymore, Dr. London. It has to be turned in.
Well,
you have to do your Christmas album.
Yeah, no, I know.
It can be a short album. It can be just like 4 songs or something. But you made this commitment. You set the deadline. You have to stick to it.
Yeah. No. Okay. No, you're right. And it's one of these things where like I procrastinate so much on it, and I burn through so many remixes that I make, and I'm like, oh, this isn't quite. But I guess at a certain point, I'm just being a perfectionist about it.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But you gotta produce something. Otherwise, I don't understand why you made so many promises to people based on the release date of this album.
Okay, well, can I tell you why? So
why not just record it first and then make the promises? But go ahead.
I watched that documentary series Get Back with the Beatles, and I thought, okay, I'll just do that.
You'll just do the Beatles.
I'll just do the Beatles, yeah. So I went...
Yeah, why haven't other people thought of that? They were so successful. Why don't you just do the Beatles?
Do the Beatles, yeah. So I've been trying to do that. So, so can I just do the Beatles songs?
Why don't you stick to the Christmas songs you have already previously written, Dr. London, as opposed to trying to re-record, I guess, Beatle parody songs, which will almost certainly get us a copyright strike.
It's going to be the Beatles titles, the titles of Beatles songs put into a rap song.
Well, I mean, just one of the songs you had written down was "The Time I Got Stuck in a Christmas Tree."
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was a great song that told a very sad story, and I could see Kelly Clarkson singing this on her show. You know, the show where she forces people to listen to her like cover Radiohead and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay. I think I get what you're wanting from me. Sit back and listen to a tale of time, back when I got stuck in the Christmas tree. Whoops, I gave it away, that's the title. Oh no, here we go with the song. Let it be, come together, twist and shout. A day in the life, and I love her, all my loving, oh darling. Blackbird, love me too, Yellow Submarine.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
That was really, really good. DJ Dylan, he's giving the thumbs up. Okay. All right, Dr. London, this second song, this is Santa's Swim Teacher.
Yeah.
And this is about sort of the struggle, but also joy in having to teach Santa how to swim, because he did not learn it as a child. He really only learned it as an adult because of you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one of these things like people say, and like this is going to sound, I don't know, like, I guess racist, but people say Santas can't swim. And I'm like, no, you just have to teach them.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just learning.
Yeah. Okay, do you want us to go ahead and sing your...
Yeah, Santa's learning swimming. Okay.
Santa Swim Coach.
Here comes Santa, swimming down the lake. Oh no, he's drowning. He's drowning. Should I save Santa? This is an ethical debate. Oh no, he's drowning. He's drowning. Throw a life preserver to him now. Comes a beat drop. While my guitar gently weeps. Here comes the sun, don't let me down. In my life, oh, I need to move without. Oh, all you need is love. Eleanor Rigby, long run road. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. I got a feeling I am the walrus here, there, and everywhere.
Wow. And now do a Santa voice responding back.
Oh, hey, Jude.
Wow, that was Dr. Lennon. That was really DJ Dylan. He's given. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It's not a thumbs up. It's not the middle finger. It's
he's
not.
been into gang signs recently, but he sent me a table of contents to figure out what they are, or I guess an index, with pictures and everything, illustrations. But
yeah, you haven't learned them.
I've been procrastinating on that and the song. Yeah, both. So hopefully that was that enough for that. Maybe for an EP, not like a full album.
DJ Dylan? Okay, that's whatever that is. That's gross. Don't do that hand sign. Okay, but I think it's approval. Okay, Dr. Lennon, I think we're good.
Yeah, I thought so. Honestly, I'm so glad for when this comes out. I know it'll be like for those who don't know, if you go on Spotify or any of these other music things, it will be listed as DJ Dylan in the house rather than my name. And DJ Dylan tells me that that's good for me.
Well, it says
that's exposure.
So he can keep track of all the royalties. Because like when some of these songs go to number one, Spotify's going to pay $5, $7, $8 even.
Cents. Yeah.
If you're pulling in 6-7 million streams a day, I mean that's $6 or $7 a day, and someone's got to take care of that money. And the DJ Dylan's really good about taking care of our finances. Yeah.
And that is,
and he gives us an allowance. So I mean.
So everyone actually this is a call to action. If you're listening to this podcast, hey, hop over as well to DJ Dylan in the house. Give him the Christmas gift of listening to our music.
And hey, also, while you're just giving out Christmas gifts, sign up your friend for our Patreon. Mm-hmm. We have a vibrant community there of super fans just like you, listener. Sign up for the Patreon. It's $3,000 a second, I guess.
I don't
know how to calculate it. It's a computer thing. Yeah, it's just adding 3,000 a lot. I don't know if it's
per second or per century. It was the breakdown's weird, but yeah, it's real and it exists. And there's a link to it at jockdogpodcast.com if you click on the big Patreon thing. So that was our producer Cameron, and as we talked about, also DJ Dylan in the house is here.
Here comes Santa, swimming down the lake. Oh no, he's drowning. He's drowning.
And later, Cameron tells me we can expect a special guest.
That's right, Dr. London.
So do look forward to that. Now for today's medical topic, diabetic ketoacidosis. Diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA, is more common in those with type 1 diabetes mellitus, though it can present in those with type 2 diabetes mellitus. Diabetic ketoacidosis is a case of pH imbalance in the body, which is, it can be very dangerous. Clinically, patients with diabetic ketoacidosis may present with hyperventilation, altered mental status, metabolic acidosis with increased anion gap, hyperkalemia in blood, but decreased total body potassium because of urinary spillage. They can have increased anion gap on blood testing, a serum that is positive for ketones, which ketoacidosis, that makes sense, non-specific abdominal pain, an acetone odor on the breath, and polydipsia, which is increased thirst, and polyuria, which is increased urination. Treatment for diabetic ketoacidosis is with large volume saline and insulin replacement. Remember that insulin causes potassium to go from the blood and into cells. So replace potassium when the potassium level in the blood comes down to a level approaching normal.
So it's basically, it's basically like alchemy. Right, Dr. Lennon? You're converting this one thing into this other thing using your, sort of doctory dark magic.
Converting, a person has a pH imbalance and has certain things out of whack in their body, and then you just make specific interventions to, even things out, to normalize things.
Convert it to something else, and then if you use those steps again, you could maybe eventually convert it to gold. Dr. London, we are sitting on an actual literal gold mine. Your veins have gold in them.
You think that, for instance, they mentioned that insulin causes potassium to go from the blood and into cells. You think that that's just like a step or two away from
converting your blood to
gold,
to liquid gold, yeah. And it would harden. It wouldn't always be liquid.
Okay. So apart from this treatment, the focus should be on correcting the underlying cause, which could be non-compliance with medication or the patient may have an infection or a pregnancy or any serious illness that can lead to the diabetic ketoacidosis. So that's the basic treatment is going to be, after the initial interventions, just correcting the underlying cause.
And so, I mean, what are we going to do with all this money?
Yeah, I feel like that's not the first thing to focus on whenever it comes to the question of whether you will have money. I know you like to start spending pretty immediately.
Yeah.
Just because
you're saying we should be focusing more on how are we going to harvest your blood and then convert it to gold.
I guess
I agree. Let's start with that. Then we'll start thinking about how we can spend the money.
I guess one thing that I just want to get ahead of, because I can see this happening, please do not intentionally bleed on people and call that pre-gold.
Liquid gold, baby.
Okay, so we're already there. Okay, well we can move on from there if that's all right. All right, Cameron, you said that we have a guest today. Is that right?
Dr. Lennon, we have a guest coming on for the first time.
Hello there. My name is drlondonsmith.com, and this is our producer, Cameron. What was your name?
Hi, I'm Catherine Grenadine, loving mother of two. I'm here to actually pitch to you, Dr. London.
Oh.
Yes. As a loving mother of two, I love to make sure, like, considering the diabetes epidemic that's happening in America at the moment, I just really want kids to be healthy and exercised. And so I've created this 7-day program one can do weekly to, exercise their little young ones. It's on my blog. It's how to exercise your little angels.
Okay. That sounds great. So, Catherine Grenadine, loving mother of two, could you, I guess, walk us through it? Because, yeah, the obesity epidemic and diabetes, it is a huge issue in this country. Do you have that over in your neck of the woods?
My neck of the woods? No. So, where I am, it's a little difficult because it doesn't really exist on like the astral plane as such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
we get that a lot.
Sure, yeah.
Well, because like once we had my son, we had to move for reasons I'm not legally allowed to disclose. But we have exercise that we need to do, and I am basing it off that.
Okay. So it's a universal type of thing. Like you don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that we're not in the same astral plane as you guys?
No, not at all. I don't discriminate between astral planes. I would never.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
it's, you don't always have to say it, but it helps when you say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Being actively allied with other planes. Yes.
Yeah.
If you want, it's broken down into 7 steps, 7 days where we do different exercises and routines depending on like what day of the week it is. We can start on Monday if you'd like. My Mondays with my 2 lovely children start with a 5K run. But of course, this class is moldable to your child's needs. So it's either a 5K run or until the child stops vomiting blood. That's generally like how we do it. Over here, like Stacy's as fit as a fiddle. She like almost never vomits blood. Norman says he can never outrun the voices in his head, so that's been a challenge going through.
That's tough for Norman.
And so if the kid is going to run until they stop vomiting blood, should they be vomiting blood from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Stacy's had troubles with that. She's a late bloomer in that sense. But Norman's been vomiting blood since birth.
Okay.
It was a very awful procedure to get him out, essentially.
People will often say, like, childbirth was actually sort of a death sentence in the past. So I'm glad that technology has improved to this point where we've made it work to this extent. So, okay, so that's all of step 1? That's all you do on Monday?
That's all Monday. Monday is just a running where, because you're not running for the entire day, but this is to be put on top of like your own personal schedule. I don't want to make it too intensive.
What does Tuesday look like?
So Tuesday is weightlifting.
2. See, that's...
Yes, 2 and 2. It's being British helps differentiate.
Yeah.
Which is on a different astral plane. So I'm in Britain. That's the astral plane I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah. Tuesday is weightlifting, but again, this is to your level. If a child wants to extend themselves, they can hover just about a foot off the ground.
Sure.
Okay.
Like for instance, I have like different children at different levels. So Stacy isn't quite there yet, but Norman's a champ at it. Absolutely.
Okay. At the flying or the weightlifting?
Both. So it's an extension. It's like low impact, high impact. High impact would be hovering. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Now, is the weight lifting you lifting your body up itself, or are you carrying weights with you?
It's really wherever you're at. We tend to have like physical weights. Like I have one over here. Just like, these things.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of these things.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
They're
So
like
for the
tubular.
listener, it's these things.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to-
This podcast
clarify.
format was definitely the correct. Bringing a physical item was yes.
Yeah, but in any case, so
Yes.
we fly and we levitate and we lift weights along with that
Yes.
if we can.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to do the levitating thing.
Well, that's okay. Everyone's at their own level. It's not necessary for the.
Okay, so I shouldn't have left.
Yeah, why do you gotta laugh at? I don't know how to levitate yet.
You're so.
It's really for everyone's own level. Like Stacy can't as well. She's 4.
Yeah, you're just like Stacy.
I'm just like a 4-year-old.
The 4-year-old.
Yeah, no, but it's kind of like how some people are born with the gene to roll their tongue, and I guess other people aren't. Maybe.
Yeah. This is like yes, and it's definitely like you have to be chosen by the astral plane. So it's a process, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. Have you started on that, or is this like a new development?
If there's paperwork involved, I haven't done it.
On that note, can we move on to the 3?
Yes.
To 3's day.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday is cool down day. You always need rest days. Don't continue going on forever. I mean, the way that we do this with Norman, Stacey's very good at taking rest days, but Norman likes like overworking himself. So we lock him in a salt circle in the basement.
Sure.
That's how we do it. But like to each their own, however you want to deal with your kids. I think that each parent should be left to their own devices.
You're werewolfing your kid. I think that's completely understandable. Like when a werewolf or a guy is turning into a werewolf, and so you have to lock him up.
I think that it's also helpful, like how like Rosemary is like to deal with werewolves and salt circles deal with other such creatures. I think that like focusing on that culinary aspect, for instance, like healthy eating is very important in like maintaining health. I think that that's also something that we want to focus on as like moving out of this obesity epidemic.
Yeah, and that's just we're getting really in the weeds here, but just to remind the listeners, this is just for health. We have a real problem in America and potentially in other planes as well, and we have a real solution to it. So, and it's diet and exercise. That's
what does the diet look like? What kind of foods are we talking about?
Well, you really need to eat healthy and keep your protein and iron up when you're vomiting that much blood. So Norman tells me that human hearts have tons of protein. So that's really good. And also if you're doing things in Ks, that also means that pineapple is very good because you're replenishing those Ks.
Does Norman supply a lot of the facts for this?
Yes, he was my eldest son. So I don't have a lot more to go on than that. Well, he says that Satan's his father now, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Right. Well, did you used to go out at all, or? I'm sorry, this is all very private.
Personal history aside, I think that like he was okay before he fell into this kind of well of conservative thinking. I think he was very like. I'm very liberal, and he didn't get on with my friends a lot. So he
went down the sort of QAnon rabbit hole.
Yeah. He was radicalized. Took like a third of the angels with him. Which
I should say right now, like we don't take sides on any of this stuff, but like we're just gonna focus on the exercise. But like if you and a third of the people group you're with
angels
fall, yes, I people group was too strong of a term. Group fall, then maybe that's a sign to see a therapist.
Well,
Yes.
and it's important to get all sides, all views.
Mhm.
Some of those views, if they come from, evil itself, who am I to say?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that with coming into perspective, like opening your third eye and astral projecting into another plane really helps like open up that perspective and see from like that's how we met initially, actually. But there were really just some things we couldn't agree on, like especially
Sure.
like with like dooming the planet, that
Yeah.
kind of thing was.
Oh,
The
yeah.
honeymoon
Yeah.
phase.
He
can be
was
like
a
that.
climate change denialist, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
Mm.
not surprising these
It'll be
days.
awkward.
Mm.
Yeah. Like with the family.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's very awkward considering he helped make the climate.
Mhm.
It was very, yeah. But do you want to talk about Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
forward
after we've eaten the human hearts, after we've eaten these pineapples, what are we looking at?
Well, after your cool down day, we need some high exercise, high energy. Murder a priest.
Murder a priest. Okay.
Oh.
Typically, Norman says that it's revenge for being locked in the basement, but he's a typical jokester, so
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a prank.
It is tough to.
Is there
stick
like
to-
an app? Is there like an app for this or something? Like, can I order
well,
a priest over to my house, or is this? How much work am I going to have to do for this? I guess.
So, like, Deliveroo only really like brings in rabbis and other such. Like, so it really depends on your like, on like religiously where you're like focused
Mhm.
in terms of who's a priest for you. Catholic priests, I don't let them around my young boys anyway. So
Sure. Yeah.
But it's really this thing of what, because different services offer different experiences, and so it really depends what you're looking for, as if there's something for that. But like a priest in general, then yeah, there are apps for that.
Okay. Yeah. I guess there's. I mean, do Greek Orthodoxes have priests? Probably, right?
Yes,
There's got to be an
weirdly,
app for that. Let me just see if I can just. Oh, it's actually 30% off. That's actually
really.
Yeah.
That's-
Let me schedule that. You said Thursday, right? Is the day to
Yeah,
schedule this?
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
I know it's and I hate to point it out, but like I've been on that app, and there are a lot of in-app purchases. You kind of do have to pay up. It's on sale,
Okay.
but
yeah.
yeah.
Like you can see the pictures of the priest you want to interact with, but you can't message them until you pay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hot priest in your area kind of thing. Like you
Yeah.
can't talk to them unless you pay. Yeah.
That's frustrating. 5-day.
Friday, yes. So this Friday is yoga, just some nice like cool down, because like Thursday was like very high intensity like exercise of murdering a priest, but yoga is like a nice cool down. Like Norman has this very impressive yoga move where his head spins like all the way around, which
Okay.
Sure.
I haven't been able to do, and Stacy hasn't. But it's very cool and nice to see
Yeah.
him like really engaging in that.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that I've noticed in my personal life recently, and I'm glad it connects a little bit. I forget to do neck stretches.
Really?
Yeah. You take. I've taken some martial arts stuff, and like you stretch all your arms and your legs, whatever, but you forget that the head is controlling a lot. So my neck was getting so tight I couldn't even turn it properly. And it sounds like Norman's really on track.
You know, it'd be a good exercise is while you're doing the neck as well, work on your eyes. Roll the eyes back in the back of your
he does
head.
that. Oh,
He does that already. Okay.
Have you seen him working out? That's wonderful. Also, Norman does this thing when like people are having like stiffness in the neck. He helps them out by slitting their throats. He's like he's a really like community focused guy.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of my boy.
Yeah, because
he's my little angel.
The skin would hold back. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So so we're to
Are we up to
6
the
day.
weekend now?
6 day. Yeah.
Yeah. Saturday weekend. For Saturday, because it's like a fun day where you do things that like I've decided that it's more like a free day with exercise. Do whatever like you're wanting to do that day, so it doesn't
freestyle.
feel like a slog of the same thing. But like exercising with friends, like Stacy will exercise with Judith and Bella, and Norman's exercising with Beelzebub and Baphomet. It's like it's a real like, and also the voices in his head, which is really good for him because they're usually more like aggressive. I find. But
And is he working on his vocal cords a bit? Is he sometimes maybe in a really deep, low voice chanting like Latin or something to really exercise his throat? That's very, very important.
Have you heard him in choir? He's wonderful. Yeah.
I haven't, but it's I think it's
He seems
just,
like the guy,
he just seems like the type.
Yeah. You know him.
What
The
does
curriculum.
Sunday look like?
Sunday's another cool
7
down
day.
period.
It's a day of rest.
Yeah, well, because we usually go to church, but Norman, like, it's always really tired on those days, so we just leave him home and we go ourselves. It's upsetting that he can't come with us, have the family thing, but our boy needs his rest.
Right.
Of course. That's the most important part of health, is it not?
Yeah.
Is getting adequate rest.
Not burning out in hellfire and brimstone. Yeah.
Right. Which is, and you can get that. Like, people, don't realize this, but especially, during a pandemic, sometimes staying at home is the moral thing to do, because there's a risk of spreading disease or acquiring disease and giving it to your family. And so, it's not the wrong decision necessarily.
I know, like, staying inside can save lives, especially with Norman, because whenever he enters a room unattended, typically 5-6 casualties, know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That honestly, that happened with me as a kid. I would go into a room, and then, like, anyone within 10 feet of me, they wouldn't die, but it was like...
It was a close thing.
It was almost like I was in the possession of their body.
Oh yeah. Like I get what you're putting down. Like possession is in like repossession, as in like you're taking them as like collateral payment for like a soul or something.
Sure, yeah, that controlling them generally. Possession, and I think all senses
you have
of that word.
Leadership skills. I think that's what that shows.
Oh wow,
You're
I've
a
been saying this
natural-born
about
leader.
myself for a long time now.
So this is full pamphlet, and you have to have the priest app, obviously, but I guess that just comes with
Well, you
territory.
don't have to. You can find like free range priests if it without an app.
Okay, just in the wild.
Like just usually on consecrated ground,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things I never put it together. But yeah, when I'm on consecrated ground, there usually is a priest there. Like, it's just I never put two and together.
You just don't pay attention because, Dr. Lennon, you're always on your phone.
Ordering priests on the priest app.
Okay, you got me.
He's just always on his dang phone looking at the other priests on the app and not even appreciating the priest right in front of you.
Honestly, that's the problem with this generation. Always looking at the hyper editorialized priest on their phone rather than the real priest right in front of them, just wanting to increase their relationship with God.
You know, it's just Face app, Dr. London. You know, that's all they're using is the Face app.
They're always, putting their dog collars way too low and editing their figures so that they look more holy. It's honestly.
I
They make their asses gigantic. I don't understand that part at all. That seems completely unnecessary, but
because the arse is to excrete waste, and they want to be a clean temple of holiness. You see, purity.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
That's why I picked them. Yes, that's the reason why I.
One of the biggest things in choosing a priest is size of arse. I do find,
and the in-app purchases as well. That's the reason, is because I'm like, oh
yeah. Well, because they need to pay for the plastic surgery somehow.
Do we need to do
I think it's chores.
The chore wheel. I hate to interrupt with this, but unfortunately, Dr. Linda and I have been neglecting all of the chores on our to-do list for a very long time now, and they've just really built up. So we built this fun chore wheel that we spin every single week, and whatever it lands on, that is the task that we have to do.
Norman ignores his chores as well, so, I get it.
Catherine, I don't know astral plane-wise if you can physically access the wheel. But
I can access anything at any time. Don't worry about it.
Oh, perfect. Could you spin the wheel?
I won't worry about that.
Yes, don't worry about it. Definitely do not.
Oh, no. Of course it landed on this one. I hate that it did. We have to plan the seating arrangement for Brad and Rachel's wedding reception. Sometimes our listeners write in and they ask us to do tasks that they say it's an honor. Like, it'd be so nice if you would essentially plan my wedding for me. But
it's like a status thing. It's like your humble servant, like a...
I hope so.
Really?
I hope I'm getting something out of it, because we're not getting money out of it, unfortunately. Dr. London, you know the people at this wedding more than I do.
Yeah.
Because you and Brad were, conjoined...
School bullies.
Conjoined
school bullies, yes. So, we started out, and this is taking me back. I did not expect.
But you were not conjoined twins. You were not born conjoined. This was
they
you-
conjoined
No.
later in life.
you guys teamed up to
we-
be an ultimate bully, essentially, right?
Yeah, well, because like, have you seen these school bullies today? And I hate to be rude, but like, school bullies these days, pathetic.
Compared to
They only have one body
Yeah.
per person.
No possessions at all. I've been very disappointed.
Yeah. So I went ahead and conjoined with Brad. And because we both did a lot of bullying, but neither, I'll admit, like neither of us was very good at it. Like I was kind
It's
of
like
too
a
much of a science
Transformer
nerd.
Megazord type, like
Yeah.
amalgamation Steven Universe fusion type thing.
Yeah,
well, and
that's what we said about
both
it.
of y'all
Doing the
wanted
Lord's
to,
work, honestly.
both of y'all wanted to be bullies, but just weren't motivated to do it. You're like, I guess I'll be a bully.
Like I was like I said, I was a science nerd. Brad was like he only played Dungeons and Dragons every day, all day, and which is fine. But like the science nerd and that, so we weren't good bullies on our own. But we loved picking on people.
Bullying was a
So
dying
we
industry.
combined-
You needed the passion for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just the resources, and once again, having two of us together. So we conjoined, and eventually once we stayed together through high school, college, and he stuck around during med school, conjoined. But after I graduated, then he was like, well, I don't want to go to the same practice that you go to, because he's a fitness guy. So he abandoned his earlier aspirations and became a fitness guy. So we bullied all the way through med school, but eventually we parted ways physically.
Yeah. It's ironic now
so-
that you have a
so-
Jock and Doc podcast because you separated because he jockified himself.
This is a good point to make, though. There is a Jock and Doc podcast. This is not that one. And our listeners have pitched in and said you should be that one. We are the Jock Doc podcast.
And we do have plans to take over that podcast. We are declaring war on the Jock and Doc podcast right now. This is the first
did
strike.
Brad go there? Was that kind of like a move against you to like undermine you?
He better not. I have not listened to the other podcasts, but if it's Brad,
No,
I'm gonna
don't
be
support the enemy.
So pissed.
Yeah. So anyway, so Brad's the seating at Brad's wedding.
We got to figure that out.
At Brad and Rachel's wedding.
Hated companion Brad.
So just so you, that's the background for what kind of person Brad is. Rachel, how did they meet? I believe Rachel was a telemarketer calling him.
Oh wow!
Story of the ages.
Yeah. Need I say more? Honestly, like that's what did it. So the seating arrangement is so she won't physically be there. Rachel won't.
She's calling in. She's busy.
She's going to be metaphysically there.
Yeah, or just like honest. If for being honest, like we'll say metaphysically, but really she's just like she'll just be on the phone.
I think that's a really nice way to put it. Is maybe in a different realm she's here, but truly she's at work.
So in terms of seating arrangement, Brad doesn't have family showing up. They're protesting it. But he does. He's actually another person who's got plant babies. So, the seating, we're having to seat.
Yeah, I'll have to sit on the other side of the room from the plant babies for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Can you is that one seat
then.
per plant, or do you stack plants, or I mean, what's the way to do this?
You're expecting plants to share a seat?
Okay, I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe that is a little discriminatory of me. I would say the person that Brad is currently conjoined to, he doesn't need a seat because he's going to be up on the stage.
They can share a seat.
Yeah.
Well, Steven, I don't know that he's. It's one of these things where Steven doesn't have a problem. Steven's the conjoined. I don't think he needs a seat, true, but I think he needs to have one available.
So
that
he doesn't feel like missing out and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Like it's a saving his feelings more than he physically needs a seat.
Or is it more like a Passover thing where you're leaving a symbolic seat open? Yeah.
For Elijah, yeah.
I mean, I think it's not a bad tradition to start, honestly. So anyway, so we have to have an extra seat for him.
Okay,
so the plants are going to take up like 600 seats.
That's reasonable.
So Yeah. And then on the bride's
It's
side,
a lot of phones, a lot of her coworkers calling in.
So-
Yeah.
A conference call.
And my first instinct is like, let's just put them all on the same line, but maybe everyone should have their own seat with their own phone, right? So is that fair?
Well, I feel like
Well, yeah, it's just
being able
if you're gonna
to
give 'em a
dress
seat, give
up
'em
the
a
phone
line.
is like a huge thing. Like being able to have each individual case so that like the mother of a
Yeah.
bride can have like a beautiful, I think that it
properly bedazzled. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Do we want to bring in some nerds for them to bully? Because if they're in a conjoined state, that's why they did it.
Yeah.
If we could bring in some dweebs and
I'm-
nerds for them to bully, I think that would be really nice.
Mm.
Is that more of a bachelor party thing? Do we do that the night before?
Well, I was thinking reception.
Oh, okay. The reception. Okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
Yes, several phones, several plants, a group of nerds for the groom to bully.
Yes. Anyway, so that's a chore. We're done with that chore. Well, thank you so much, Catherine Grenadine, loving mother of two. Is there anything that you'd like to give a shout out to? Anything else? I know, obviously, your pamphlet, but anything else to promote?
Also, there's this really shit comedian that I know. Rose does comedy on most social medias. They've written a book if you're interested in it. So, Twitter, YouTube.
Well, does the book have a title, or is it one of those other kind of books?
So the title is "Am I Sentient?" A collection of poems written by a robot. That's the title of the book. It's a fun read. My son very much enjoyed it, and then he vomited blood all over it, so he couldn't read it again.
Oh, ringing endorsement.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for being on, and
Thank you.
thank you to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Did You Know the Host? We have a real problem in America, and potentially in other planes as well.
That's sort of QAnon rabbit hole.
We have a real problem in America.
QAnon rabbit hole.
We have a real problem in America.
Radicalized climate change denialists.
We have a real problem in America.
Conservative thinkers.
We have a real problem in America.
Catholic priests.
We have a real problem in America. We have a real problem in America.
We're declaring war on the QAnon rabbit hole. This is the first strike.
Yeah, honestly, that's the problem with this generation. Always looking at me. The hyper-editorial
Life on their phone rather than the real life in front of them, just wanting to increase their relationship.
They're always
Editing their figures so that they look more holy. It's honestly.
I think that we're coming into
Your perspective on opening your third eye and astral projecting into another plane really helps it open up that perspective.
honestly, that's the problem with this generation. Always looking at the hyper-editorialized on their phone, right in front of them, wanting to increase their relationships, always editing their videos so that it's honest. We're into perspective, so opening your third eye and projecting into playing room groups like perspective. Open up that perspective. Open up that perspective. Open up that perspective. Open up that perspective.
My name is Dr. LondonSmith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.
Bye.